If you've ever wanted to compare your 401k balance to that of the average American, well then, you've come to the right place. It doesn't matter if you're a Gen Zer or a boomer, today we are covering everyone. For this video, we're going to go over the average 401k balance in America by age. And don't worry, because if you find that you're a little behind on your retirement investing, we'll go over the numbers so you have an idea on where you need to be to catch up. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on all of my latest videos. We're trying to get to 350 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it. Thanks. I also want to add the disclaimer that I am not a certified financial advisor. I'm just someone who is passionate about personal finance and sharing my finance journey, and I will not be sharing any specific investments in this video. But remember, before you ever invest your money in anything, make sure to do your own research and if needed, talk to a certified financial advisor. And before we jump into the numbers, let's quickly just cover a couple things about the 401k. If you clicked on this video and made it this far, then you're probably already familiar with what a 401k is, but just in case you don't, the 401k is a type of retirement investment account that is typically offered through your employer. In a 401k, you would elect to contribute a certain percentage of your salary into your 401k each paycheck. And then once you set that contribution, it's automatically deducted from each paycheck, so the money never even hits your bank account. And keep in mind that the 401k is just a type of account. It's not an actual investment itself. The chances are that when you enroll in a 401k program, there's going to be a default investment that your money is already put into. But you need to go in and make sure that your money's not just sitting there as cash and not invested in anything, or else it's not going to grow over time. Another thing that is typically associated with a 401k is what is known as the employer match, where your employer will offer to match your contributions up to a certain percent of your salary. So if your employer offered a 5% match, then for each dollar you put in, they would also put in a dollar up until you hit 5% of your salary. The 401k can also have the Roth or traditional tax benefit, and we're not going to go into the specifics of what those are in this video because that is a whole separate discussion, but I just want to mention it so that you know that it can be either. And lastly, you're also going to find out very quickly in this video that the average American just is not doing enough when it comes to their retirement. Again, we're going to get into the specifics, but I personally think everyone should be contributing at least 15% of their income towards their retirement investing. And if you can, it's even more ideal to bump that up to 20% to truly maximize your investments and take advantage of compound interest. But that's enough of that. It's time to jump into the numbers. And we're going to start with the youngest age group first, which is those that are under the age of 25. Now, if you're in your early 20s, I'm not actually that worried about the amount that you already have in your 401k. I think the bigger priority is that you actually understand the importance of investing young and you've already started on the process of contributing 15 to 20% of your income towards retirement. At this stage of your life, it's all about building strong habits and educating yourself on investing for your future. Because of compound interest, the value of each of your dollars is going to decrease exponentially over time. So it's very important that you start investing as early as possible. And to illustrate this concept, let's go over the following example. If you wanted to have $1 million invested by the time you turn 65, here's how much you would have to invest every month depending on which age you actually got started at. And for this exercise, let's assume we have an average annual rate of return of 8%. If you started at age 20, you would have to invest $215 every month. If you wait until you turn 25, you'd have to invest $321 every month, which is already a lot higher than the amount that you would have to invest if you started at age 20, but it's still a reasonable amount. We're still in the good years of compound interest. If you start investing at age 30, you would have to contribute $483 a month. And keep in mind that if you start at age 30, it will take more than double every month than what it would have taken if you started at age 20. So just 10 years later, it's already twice as hard to achieve your goals. If you start at age 40, you'd have to invest $1,139 every month. And if you start at age 50, you'd have to contribute a whopping $3,069 every month. And that hurts just thinking about. These numbers tell us that it gets exponentially harder the longer we wait to start investing in our retirement. But on the flip side, it also means that you have such a great opportunity in your early 20s to get a head start and put your dollars to work early. You're going to be able to build a large amount of wealth with a relatively small amount of money. So just remember, get started as soon as possible. But like I said, we're here for the data. So here it is. The average 401k balance for those under the age of 25 is $7,351. But you'll notice that the median 401k balance is much lower at $2,816. And that's because the average is being skewed by people that have higher than normal 401k balances, which might be painting an unrealistic picture for where those people are that are actually in the middle, which is what we want to look at for this video. So for this purpose, the median is going to be the better statistic for what we want to accomplish. And again, the median is about $2,800. While $2,800 isn't a ton when it comes to total 401k balance, again, like I already mentioned, I'm actually not too concerned at this age how much you currently have in your account. It's possible that people in this age bracket have only been working for 1 to 2 years, so they haven't even had a lot of time to start putting money into their 401k. However, the number that does cause quite a bit of concern is the average contribution percentage, which is at just 8.9%, which means that they're only contributing 8.9% of their salary towards their 401k. And keep in mind that that percentage does include employer match. So if someone was contributing this average and they had a 5% employer match, they would only be contributing 3.9% of their own money towards their retirement account. And that's not going to be enough. Like we just talked about, right now is the time for you to take advantage of compound interest. And while there's still time later on to make progress on retirement investing, you're never going to have a time like now again where it's so easy to grow your money. So for those just starting out, I have to reiterate that you should be contributing 15% of your own salary towards your 401k before you even get any employer contributions. You've also got to try everything you can to hit that subscribe button. Again, we're trying to get to 350 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it. Thanks. But anyway, let's move on to discuss those between the ages of 25 and 34. At this point, you've hopefully started out in your professional career and have started the process of investing towards your retirement. If you haven't started yet, then you still have a lot of time to catch up and you still have a lot of potential for compound interest. But you have missed out on a lot of compounding potential from your early 20s, so don't miss out on more and get started as soon as possible. The average 401k balance for those in this group is $37,557. But again, we want to look at the median, which is $14,933. Remember, those with high 401k balances are skewing the average, so we want to look at the median. And let's break down that median. If someone was 25, so the early end of the age bracket, and they were just starting out, then having almost $15,000 might not be a bad number. However, if someone was in their 30s and they only had $15,000 saved for retirement, then I would start to be concerned with their overall financial picture, which may lead you to ask, where should someone be at this stage in their life? Well, Fidelity recommends that people have 1 year's worth of their salary invested towards retirement by the time they turn 30. And if we look at the median salary for this age group, which is $57,356, we can see that the median 401k amount isn't coming even close to that. Also, keep in mind that Fidelity only recommends having 10x your salary saved up by the time you eventually retire, which in my opinion isn't quite enough. If you want to use the 4% rule to sustain your same level of income once you get to retirement, then you would actually need 25 times your salary to support that financially. So Fidelity's numbers might actually be a little low. So if you wanted to replace your whole salary, that would mean that you would actually have to have 2.5 times your salary invested by the time you turn 30. So again, if this was your goal, ideally someone trying to do this would have $114,712 in their 401k invested for retirement, meaning that that individual would be $100,000 short. We can also still see that the average contribution percentage is pretty low at 11%, and you'll see this stay fairly consistent throughout the video, so I'll keep putting the numbers on the screen, but I'm not going to mention it when we get to every age bracket. All right, moving on to the folks who are approaching middle age. This is your last warning. If you are still behind on your retirement investing at this stage, it's going to get extremely hard if you don't get this figured out right now. I can't stress it enough. If you haven't started prepping for your retirement, then you officially have an emergency on your hands that needs to be addressed. And sadly, the numbers show us that a lot of people are behind. The average 401k balance for this age group is $91,281. However, the median 401k balance is only $35,537, which makes me really sad because that just means that the median person is really behind, and it's going to be a big struggle for them to catch up. But it's not too late. They just need to get started and get going quickly and efficiently. If you're curious what the recommendation is for this age, Fidelity recommends having 3 times your salary invested by the time you turn 40, meaning that the gap between the median 401k and where someone needs to be is just getting bigger and bigger. So using Fidelity's recommendation, you would need to have roughly $194,000 saved up by age 40. However, again, if you want to use the 4% rule in retirement to replace your entire income, you would actually need to have 7.5 times your salary invested, meaning you would have to have $486,000 in your 401k by age 40. And ideally, you would do this sooner, but right now might be a great time to sit down and reflect on where you're at and what your goals are. Because if there's any disconnect there, this is the last chance to get things corrected and achieve your goals for retirement. You still have time to fix these, but you are quickly running out of it. Hopefully by the time you reach ages 45 to 54, you're far along in your path to building wealth and setting yourself up financially. And hopefully you've seen some of the great effects of compound interest and you've really seen your money start to multiply, especially if you got started early on. Sadly, this is not going to be the case for a lot of people. For people in this age range, the average 401k balance is roughly $168,000, while the median 401k balance is just about $60,000, which again just makes me really sad because someone at the median is going to have a really hard time retiring by the time they reach 65 unless they have a pension or some other retirement benefit. As far as where you need to be, Fidelity recommends that at this stage, you have 6 times your annual salary saved up by the time you turn 50, meaning that you would need to have $410,000 invested in your 401k. However, if you wanted to use the 4% rule to replicate your current salary in retirement, then you would need to have 15 times your average annual salary invested, meaning that you would actually need just a little over $1 million in your 401k by the time you turn 50. And moving on to our last group, once you've made it to age 55, you are officially on the final stretch. Don't let up because you're almost there. For those between the ages of 55 and 64, the average 401k balance is roughly $244,000, but again, the median is significantly lower at just $87,000. Some people in this age bracket might only be 10 years away from their ideal retirement, but I'll tell you right now, if you get to the stage with $90,000 invested, retirement might not come that quickly for you. To avoid that, Fidelity recommends having 8 times your annual salary invested by the time you turn 60, which would mean having $497,000 invested in your 401k. But again, if you wanted to have your same level of income in retirement, then you would actually need 20 times your annual salary by the time you turn 60, which considering the median salary is going to be roughly $1.2 million, which seems big. But remember, you can get there if you just get in the habit of contributing towards your retirement every month, starting early and taking advantage of compound interest. I hope this video really helped clarify what the retirement outlook is for people of all ages in the United States. And I hope this inspired you to truly understand and master your financial plan so that you can ultimately build a life of financial stability and financial freedom. But that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. Are the numbers aligned with what you expected? Were there some differences? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.